So yesterday's opening statements were made in the sex trafficking trial against Sean Diddy Combs. He pleaded not guilty, denied all sexual abuse allegations during a day of really disturbing and graphic testimony. Now, Sunny was there. What happened?
Yeah, thank you, Whoopi. I was in the courtroom yesterday, and as many of you know, this is a federal case. It's a racketeering case. It's a human trafficking case. He's accused of a lot of sex-related crimes, and I was a former sex crimes, human trafficking federal prosecutor, and so this is what I did for a living, and I will tell you that it is probably the most disturbing case I've ever heard in my career. And what happened yesterday was interesting because there were opening statements by both the government and the defense, and I think the defense gave probably one of the best opening statements I've heard. And the defense's theory of the case is that Sean Combs is violent. He is a complicated man. He's has committed domestic violence. But this is a case about jealousy and infidelity and a money grab. And it's not, and it's also a case about consensual threesomes. And so
What about the trafficking?
They said that there was no human trafficking. This is all consensual. And it was very interesting. It was a very good opening statement. The other thing I will say, to give you some color in the courtroom, Sean Combs is not the person that we used to see out there. He looks very much like a defeated mogul. He's all gray because you can't have hair dye in federal detention. He looks like he's dressed like Mr. Rogers. He's got sort of like a gray sweater. He's walking feebly. That could be a defense tactic. And he has a lot of support in the courtroom. All of his children were there, except for one, because he had a child in 2022, but his 6 children were there. His mother was there. Misa Hilton was there, which is one of the mothers of his children. And so there was a lot of interaction, and he was very, very engaged in his case. He was writing down notes on orange stickies, passing it to attorneys, and they would not close their examination of witnesses until he said.
I notice in a lot of domestic abuse cases, they sort of say, well, she stayed with him for 11 years.
I heard that part, Joy, and I felt like I thought in 2025 we should be back past the victim shaming, saying these were grown women who stayed. But anyone knows that when there's a victim involved, there's abuse, there's a psychology to that.
And I'm assuming that Cassie is going to testify today. Her testimony begins today. I'm going to leave after the show to go see her testimony. That is classic survivor behavior. You stay in this type of violent relationship, while the defense is arguing it was consensual, it is difficult to prove that it is non-consensual. But I think the government will try to do that.
And by the fact that she stayed all that time,
they have to have an expert will explain that dynamic.
I actually had the same takeaway in just reading the transcripts of Sunny. This is one of the most high-powered defense teams. If you know defense prosecutors, these are the best of the best. And they're doing a really good job acknowledging this is a deeply flawed person. He was into sexual things that might make you uncomfortable. They admitted openly he is a domestic abuser. But what I think the prosecution is going to be able to do today with Cassie Ventura's testimony is have her speak to how those acts were not consensual. And on the trafficking side of things, that she was denied her personal freedom. And we all saw that famous video of her trying to get out of the hotel, and he is kicking her and abusing her.
I want to mention that, too, because they showed that video yesterday, and they showed it over and over
I'd like them to stop showing the video
it was
on
very,
television. This is all I'm going to say about any of this. It's like, we know.
And this woman's been through just absolute hell.
It was like
It
enough.
was very, very disturbing. I will say, racketeering cases are really hard to prove.
That's what I wanted to ask you, Sunny. Do you think they overcharged what they could prove after hearing that opening statement?
Yeah, the case has just begun. The first 2 witnesses could have been defense witnesses. I don't think that they were helpful to a racketeering case. The government has to prove that Sean Combs had this bad boy records and the liquor and all the branding, and he used that as a criminal enterprise to traffic women and commit sexual abuse. And it's a stretch. It's a really hard case to prove. But it's an 8-week trial, so maybe they will be able to do that.
Because a lot of people have made parallels to Harvey Weinstein, but I think a much more accurate parallel is Jeffrey Epstein, where he's being accused of it being this vast criminal network of abusing women. And I'd be curious from your perspective, are they kind of holding on to the paper trail and the money trail? Because I didn't hear that come up yesterday, and that's the core to that trafficking and criminal enterprise part.
I think we will hear more information about the money. There was a witness yesterday that testified that he was paid for sex with Cassie while Sean Combs watched in the hotel room. He was paid anywhere between $700 and $4,000. The problem that I saw there is that the money came directly from Cassie.
Yeah, they have to link it to him.
They have to somehow link it to him. I suspect that, if they charge it this way, most prosecutors, federal prosecutors, win 97% of their trials, and so there must be evidence to support these charges. But it's from what I can see at this point, it's going to be a difficult case to prove.
And by the way, it's so brave of Cassie to be testifying today on the stand while he's in the courtroom.
She's 8.5 months pregnant.
She's about to give birth.
Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that. And then incredibly intimate, brutal things she had to endure. And I really hope she gets the justice she deserves.
We're going to be
one last thing about the jury.
Right quick,
I think the jury is really important. It's a very diverse jury. There are 12 men on it, 8 women. That's because there are 6 alternates. It's diverse socioeconomically, it's diverse by race, it's diverse by gender, it's multi-generational. When the older people, I watch juries, I think cases are won and lost during jury selection, actually, and the older people were very concerned about a lot of the disturbing sexually explicit details they heard. The younger people, not so much. And so I think there may be a generational aspect to jury deliberations.
Well, I also think there's certain things people just don't want to see you do.
Yeah.
They don't want to see you kicking a woman down the hall.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear someone testify and say, well, we got a call saying this was going on and he offered me money and I had to turn the money down. People don't want to hear that. So
some of the problem is they didn't charge him with domestic violence.
No.
But
they
the
didn't.
jury still doesn't want to necessarily see a woman being
nobody
accused
wants to see
over
that.
and over
Nobody
and over
wants
again.
to see that. And it's an 8-week trial, and you'll be there, and we'll be following it. You can also stay up on news about the trial, if you like, on 2020 with ABC's audio podcast, Bad Rap, The Case Against Diddy, wherever you get your podcast.